Hello and welcome to All Things EGOT. My name is Maurie Ritchie.
And I'm Portia West. On today's show, we'll talk Tonys with theater critic Gage Tarlton, who'll share his predictions on the shows and actors who'll walk away with trophies.
There was so much star power on Broadway last year, Portia.
It's proof positive that New York is still Broadway strong, continuing a powerful comeback from COVID. I say we get started.
Joining us from New York is Gage Tarlton. Hello, Gage, and welcome to the show.
Hi, Maurie and Portia. I am so glad to be joining you today.
Gage, what stands out for you regarding this year's nominees and Broadway status overall?
This has been a really stacked year for Broadway. I would say that this actually feels like the first real year of contenders since 2019 before the pandemic. What stands out to me this year is that we're seeing a lot of shows being nominated that have already closed. We've got Into the Woods, which closed back in January. It received 6 nominations. We've got 3 plays in Best Play that have already closed. And then we've got 2 shows that have closed in Best Revival of a Play. I was really excited to see the Tony nominating committee looking at the overall season rather than just what's opened in the last couple of months.
It's great to get that perspective from you. Now let's get to your predictions, starting with Best Play. The nominees for Best Play are Ain't No Mo, Between Riverside and Crazy, Cost of Living, Fat Ham, Leopoldstadt.
So this Best Play category is really interesting because for the first time ever, there's actually 3 Pulitzer Prize winners vying for the top prize. Those 3 are Between Riverside and Crazy, Cost of Living, and Fat Ham, which just won the Pulitzer last year. What makes this one especially a head scratcher, though, is that I personally don't see any of those as the front runner. I think that at the end of the day, Leopoldstadt can't be beat. It's already won Best New Play at the Olivier Awards. It's been running since September with steady ticket sales, and it's supposed to be Tom Stoppard's last play. It has all the ingredients that makes a winner. I see the Tony voters choosing to honor Stoppard and voting Leopoldstadt as the winner.
Next up, Best Musical. The nominees for Best Musical are Anne Juliet, Kimberly Akimbo, New York, New York, Shucked, Some Like It Hot.
So this Best Musical category is absolutely stacked. There is the longtime frontrunner, Kimberly Akimbo, which had an acclaimed run off Broadway in 2021, and it's been running on Broadway since the fall. But there's Shucked, the musical about corn that's gaining steam as the unexpected hit of the season. And then New York, New York is a musical from Kander and Ebb and Lin-Manuel Miranda. And then there's Anne Juliet, which has proven itself to be a hit amongst younger audience members. I think that Kimberly's biggest competition, though, is Some Like It Hot, which has 13 Tony nominations. I think the race is going to be between Some Like It Hot and Kimberly Akimbo, but I do think that Kimberly Akimbo is going to pull out ahead and be the winner come Tony night.
This year's nominees for Best Revival of a Play has projects from as far back as 1879 to 1999. The nominees for Best Revival of a Play are August Wilson's The Piano Lesson, Ibsen's A Doll's House, Lorraine Hansberry's The Sign and Sidney Brustein's Window, and Suzanne Laurie Parks' Top Dog, Underdog.
This one could go in a number of different ways. The Piano Lesson and Top Dog, Underdog have already closed, and they both closed several months ago. The production of A Doll's House is extremely divisive around critics. And then The Sign and Sidney Brustein's Window opened just 3 days before the Tony cutoff. I think that Top Dog, Underdog is going to have the edge here. I think it had the most overall positive response. So my pick for this one is Top Dog, Underdog.
The 4 nominees for Best Revival of a Musical are timeless, set in worlds that are macabre, medieval, fantastical, as well as a dark moment in American history. The nominees for Best Revival of a Musical are Into the Woods, Lerner and Lowe's Camelot, Parade, Sweeney Todd, The Demon Barber of Fleet Street.
So in this category, we have 2 Sondheims competing. And even though there are fans of both of them, I do think that they will split the votes. And I don't think that either one of them is ultimately going to take it. I was personally surprised that Lerner and Loewe's Camelot even made it into the category as a nominee, just because the reception was very mixed to that production. So I am going to say that Parade is going to take this one. I think it's the most politically and socially relevant musical of the group. And I think that the Sondheim Show just won Best Revival last year with Company. So I think that just because a Sondheim Show has already won in the last year, they'll choose to go in a different direction. So I'm going to choose Parade for this one.
The Best Book of a Musical nominees feature 2 stories adapted from films, 2 original stories in a jukebox musical that's a twist on a classic Shakespeare story. The nominees for Best Book of a Musical are & Juliet by David West Reed, Kimberly Akimbo by David Lindsay Abaire, New York, New York by David Thompson and Sharon Washington, Shucked by Robert Horn, and Some Like It Hot by Matthew Lopez and Amber Ruffin.
So I personally think that this is a 3-way race between Kimberly Akimbo, Shucked, and Some Like It Hot. Kimberly Akimbo is based on a play by that same author. So I think that gives it a bit of an edge with the support of a lot of playwrights who already like the play. But that being said, Matthew Lopez and Amber Ruffin are in the running with Some Like It Hot. And just a couple of years ago, Matthew Lopez's The Inheritance won Best Play in a surprise victory over the frontrunner, Jeremy O. Harris's Slave Play. So I wouldn't count him out completely. And then, like I said earlier, Shucked is really gaining momentum right now. It really overperformed on Tony morning. But at the end of the day, I am going to stick with Kimberly Akimbo to come out on top, just because I think it has the tightest book. I think it is the one that is the most cohesive of all of the nominees here. So I'm choosing Kimberly Akimbo for Best Book of a Musical.
Now, time to look at the performers that gave standout performances last year, starting with Best Performance by a Lead Actor in a Play. The nominees for Best Performance by a Lead Actor in a Play are Yahya Abdul-Mateen II in Susan Laurie Parks' Top Dog Underdog, Corey Hawkins in Susan Laurie Parks' Top Dog Underdog, Sean Hayes in Goodnight Oscar, Stephen McKinley Henderson in Between Riverside and Crazy, Wendell Pierce in Arthur Miller's Death of a Salesman.
So as much as I would love for Yahya or Corey to take this for Top Dog Underdog, it's just the 2 of them in that play, and they're both phenomenal in it. I do think that this is a category, again, where people aren't going to be able to really see or really love one more than the other. So I think that they might cancel each other out for that reason. Sean Hayes, he's beloved by the theater community. He's also probably the biggest name in this category, so I think he has a good shot. And the same could go for Wendell Pierce. He's playing Willie Loman in Death of a Salesman, which is, a titan role of theater. But I'm going to go with Stephen McKinley Henderson, who has surprisingly never won a Tony Award before. I think this is the perfect role for him to finally take it. I'll be so excited. I really, really hope he takes this one. I would be excited to see his speech. So I'm choosing Stephen McKinley Henderson for Between Riverside and Crazy.
I have to say I agree. I'm rooting for him too. The women nominated in Best Performance by an Actress in a Leading Role in a Play include an Oscar winner and the record holder for most Tony wins. The nominees for Best Performance by an Actress in a Leading Role in a Play are Jessica Chastain, A Doll's House, Jodie Comer, Prima Facie, Jessica Hett, Summer 1976, and Audra McDonald, Ohio State Murderers.
So this is an interesting category because there weren't enough performances eligible to have 5 nominees, which is why we're only seeing 4 actresses in this category here. So Jessica Heck has won 2 Tonys before, and she's in a show with her co-star Laura Linney. So she beat out Laura Linney for that 4th slot. And then, like you said, Audra holds the record for most Tony wins. So you really can never count her out because they really love her. But at the end of the day, I do think it comes down to Oscar winner Jessica Chastain going up against Jodie Comer in Prima Facie. Jessica Chastain just won a surprise SAG earlier this year. She's in the running to probably win an Emmy later this year, won an Oscar last year. She's really on a roll right now. So I think that she has a really good shot. And then Jodie Comer is coming off an Olivier Award win for this exact role earlier this year over in London. I just think that even though a lot of people I think are saying Jodie Comer is going to take it, I'm going with Jessica Chastain. I think that a lot of people love her. She's, extremely well respected in all of the communities she's in: film, television, theater. And this is, she'll be one step closer to that EGOT if she takes it.
The category Best Performance by an Actor in a Leading Role in a Musical might be one of the toughest. What do you think, Gage? The nominees for Best Performance by an Actor in a Leading Role in a Musical are Christian Borle, Some Like It Hot; J. Harrison Ghee, Some Like It Hot; Josh Groban, Sweeney Todd, The Demon Barber of Fleet Street; Brian D.R.C. James, Into the Woods; Ben Platt, Parade; Colton Ryan, New York, New York.
So this is a category that has 6 nominations for lead actor, and the reason for that is that there was a tie for that last slot, and the tie was so close. I think it usually is it has to be between 3 votes. There has to be a 3-vote difference between 5th and 6th place in order for both people to get in. So that's what happened here. So I'm thinking that Colton Ryan and Brian Darcy James, to me, were those 2 last slots. So I don't think that they're going to win here. I think that Ben Platt just won last year. Or not last year. Ben Platt won for Dear Evan Hansen in 2017. So I think that just because it was so recent and he's so young, I don't see them awarding him so soon after that. As I said with Top Dog Underdog, J. Harrison Ghee and Christian Borle together, they're co-leads in that show, and people really like that show a lot. I think it'll be hard for people to choose one over the other. Christian Borle, too, has won some surprise Tonys in the past when people weren't expecting him to win. So I think that they're going to end up canceling each other out here. So I think that this is going to ultimately go to Josh Groban. I think he's playing an iconic role. He's playing Sweeney Todd. He's already a past nominee. He's kind of like Sarah Bareilles in that they've made that transition from a music career into this Broadway theater career, and people really, respect them. They really like them. They've given so much to the community. I think they're going to take this opportunity to as like a thank you to Josh Groban. I think they'll end up giving it to him. So I'm going with Josh Groban for Sweeney Todd.
The nominees for Best Performance by an Actress in a Leading Role in a Musical are Annalee Ashford, Sweeney Todd, The Demon Barber of Fleet Street; Sarah Bareilles, Into the Woods; Victoria Clark, Kimberly Akimbo; Lorna Courtney, and Juliet; Michaela Diamond, Parade.
This category is so stacked, and there were already a lot of snubs on the list. When I was doing my predictions for the nominations, there were like 10 different actresses that I could have thrown in here. So there really is an embarrassment of riches that the lead actresses offered to us this year. But despite that, and despite all how good they all are, I think that no one's going to be able to stop Victoria Clark. She's been with Kimberly Akimbo since it premiered in 2021 off Broadway, and she's been able to maintain that momentum over the last year and a half. People just say that it's a career-defining role, and that's really high praise for someone who has already had career-defining roles in the past. So for her to really like one-up herself, I think that it's going to end up going to her. It could go to Annalee Ashford or Michaela Diamond, who is actually only 23 years old, which is crazy that she's able to be nominated here at such a young age. But I think that Victoria Clark is going to take it. So that is my prediction.
The 6 individuals for the Best Direction of a Play category shape the stories from table reads to weekly performances on The Great White Way. The nominees for Best Direction of a Play are Saheem Ali, Fat Ham; Joe Bonney, Cost of Living; Jamie Lloyd, A Doll's House; Patrick Marber, Leopoldstadt; Stevie Walker Webb, Ain't No Mo; Max Webster, Life of Pi.
So this really seems to be a showdown between Patrick Marber for Leopoldstadt and Max Webster for Life of Pi. Patrick is helming a massive play that spans several decades. There's a huge cast in that play. And then Max Webster is directing Life of Pi, which is this stunning production that uses design elements and puppetry to the absolute fullest extent. It's an absolutely gorgeous production. There's also Jamie Lloyd, who takes A Doll's House and really spins it with a very specific directorial vision. And a lot of people are saying he's breathing new life into this classic. I just think that that production was, like I said earlier, a bit too divisive. I think that some people love it, but on the flip side, a lot of people really don't. So I think it comes down between Patrick and Max. And I think that, as I said, Leopoldstadt is going to win Best Play. So I think that they're going to spread the wealth here and give Max Webster the win for Life of Pi.
In the last category, Gage, Best Direction of a Musical, the nominees for Best Direction of a Musical are Michael Arden, Parade, Lear de Bossonet, Into the Woods, Casey Nicola, Some Like It Hot, Jack O'Brien, Shucked, Jessica Stone, Kimberly Akimbo.
I think that this one is going to Michael Arden for Parade. He's been nominated twice before, so this will be his third nomination. He directed the much acclaimed Christmas Carol production that was on Broadway at the end of last year that a lot of people really loved. So I think that his past nominations, on top of he had 2 shows this season that people really, really liked, I think that that is going to give him the edge here and that he's going to finally take a Best Director award on his third try.
We'll all be watching the Tonys on Sunday, June 11th, to see how your predictions turn out, Gage.
Yes, we look forward to talking to you then.
Thank you so much for having me, y'all. I appreciate it.
I can't wait to see how Gage does, Maurie.
Yes, and I'm looking forward to watching the show, Portia. Ariana DeBose did a stellar job last year, so I'm expecting a fast-paced, entertainment-filled night.
Next time, we'll have our Tony Award recap with Gage and fashion critic Patrick Mays joining us to share his red carpet hits and misses.
Thanks for joining us.
Peace.